Hey, it's Drybear. And you know I have your back when it comes to Diablo 4, and today is no different because we're going to focus on learning how to maximize your endgame potential and make sure you're ready to maximize your build. More specifically, today I want to teach you all about Paragon boards, how they work, and also glyphs, how to level them up, where to find them, and how they function, and some of the secret mechanics that exist inside them that you might be missing. But first, you should come hang out with me on my live stream. I'm live every single day on twitch.tv/Drybear. If you don't come hang out with me and the community, the next time you have a balled up piece of trash that you shoot at the trash can and yell Kobe is going to miss, and you're gonna have to do the walk of shame over to the piece of trash, pick it up, and place it in the bin. All right, let's begin by talking about the Paragon board itself so that we're not leaving anyone behind and everyone's caught up. Then we'll talk about glyphs, how they work, and what to be aware of, plus some of the secret bonuses that you may not know about on the glyphs themselves. So Paragon is unlocked once you complete the capstone dungeon at level 50 and start working your way through World Tier 3 and all the way up until level 100. This is your alternate advancement past your skill points in your gear and your character, and you'll be going through this to find your own path. You can go through these collecting nodes, collecting bonuses, and the more you have Paragon points, the more you can spend, the more you can get, the more value you have, so on and so forth. So this is something that you want to be intimately familiar with when you are leveling. So let's clear this board and walk through it as we would when we first hit level 50. You're gonna get a starting board that everybody gets. It looks exactly like this one. All of these nodes will be blank, and you will start at a point at the bottom. And just like you would through an old arcade game, you get to, for every Paragon point you have, step along the path and make a pathway through it. And when you activate any of these nodes, you get the benefits that are listed on the node. There are several types of nodes. The basic one is the normal node. These all give you primary stats, and which primary stat you get will change based on what class you have. And I've gone over that. If you're looking for stat explanations, I have a whole video going over what each of the stats do. But that's your basic node. Your one level up from that is a magic node, and these can give you all kinds of niche secondary stats that you'll get on your advanced stat tab in game. So like percent damage, armor, resistance, percent life, damage while healthy, damage while fortified, increased fortified generation, more barrier generation, things like that. Your next level is going to be rare. It's the same rarity system that you find in the game. And these rare nodes are unique. They have special effects to them. They usually have far more value than any magic node. So you can see how this magic node is 5% damage. This rare node is 10% damage and 4% life. And you'll work your way through these boards, collecting whatever it is you want. And then when you get to these gate nodes, these board attachment nodes, you'll get a bonus for that. And then you'll get the option to attach another board. This is where things get really fun. So for each class, they have a set of nodes that are a set of boards they can pick from. You'll have this selected in game. You'll pick one of them and it'll attach gate to gate from the board you just left. And then you can continue your path. You can keep walking along and keep going and getting all the bonuses and points that you want. Now it's not listed here on this builder, but you can actually rotate these. Oh, I guess it is. Color me impressed. So in game, you can actually rotate these to change where they connect. Or you can rotate, have multiple boards connected together. You can decide where you want to enter and exit specific boards so that you can get the stats that you want and get the bonuses that you want. By the way, this is d4builds.gg, and I apologize. I didn't think the rotator was there, but it definitely is. So shout out to them. I've been using this site for a lot of my builds. So, obviously, if you wanted to get a really good node here, coming in from the left is really important. You can rotate this board and connect one. So you can see how much expression there is in which board you choose, where you put the boards, and what you get. The next kind of node is going to be a legendary node. These are only one per board. They match the name of the board. So the cheap shot board for Rogue will have a cheap shot legendary, and these give you some nice bonuses. It turns out that these are actually really good levels 50 to 80. And towards endgame, they start losing some of their value because you start needing more percent scalers in other areas. But picking these up, if they're available, are really good, and they're exceptionally good at level 50 when you first get Paragon, because they give you massive bonuses. Keep in mind that every board is different. Not all, every board is different. The starting board is different. The cunning stratagem board is different. You can go north. Eldritch Bounty is different, has different nodes, different stats, different legendary node, and all of that. So all of those are different, and that's how you specify your endgame build. But don't feel overwhelmed because you're going to start exploring this little bit by bit until you start getting a sense of what boards you like. And if you get confused, you can very easily just get a reference build and start using that until you get more comfortable with the system. I have plenty of builds on my channel and in my Discord. If you join the Discord and you're looking for builds, if you join my Discord, linked in the description, I have all leveling builds, 2 leveling builds for every class, plus explaining all those, and I'm working through making endgame builds for all of the classes, which I have a bunch of them on here already. So you can join the Discord, look for some of those. There's plenty of other creators that do that. There's lots of websites that have great resources as well. So if you're looking for a build, there are plenty of them out there that you can reference. Now, the node type that we skipped is possibly one of the, if not the most important node type of them all. And that is your glyph node. You see it here. Every board has one of them, and they're located in different locations. But when you reach this glyph socket spot, when you activate this node, you will be able to collect glyphs by doing endgame content, and then place those glyphs inside of the glyph socket. Each of these has, it's almost like a super rare glyph. It has tons of bonuses in it, different requirements, and different structures. You can see for this one, for every 5 strength and range of this glyph, when we activate it, is going to have, it's going to give us increased damage to close targets, and that can scale for as much as is in there. So these glyphs are mega important. The next thing to know is that both glyph nodes and rare nodes have bonus. And this is the secret stat that I was telling you about earlier. They have bonus requirements that if you fulfill those requirements, you get some kind of bonus value. And these can get crazy. Even just the starting board has 10% damage if you get the check, 10% damage reduction. Some of these glyphs, non-basic and non-core skills, deal increased damage. Some of these, like the exploit glyph, is probably one of the best glyphs in the entire game. Exploit is insanely strong. When enemy is damaged by you, they become vulnerable. This cannot happen, so you get free vulnerable out of it, and you can scale vulnerable from the bonus as well. So how do you get these bonuses active? Well, on the rare and the glyph node, it'll list on it. So for this first rare node, as long as you have 160 intelligence on your board, you will get the bonus. And this value increases the more boards you have attached and the more points you have spent. So it might start at the very bottom of 160 intelligence requirement. And then when we go like way out here, it goes to 620 dexterity. So not only does the position of the board matter, not only does the rotation of the board matter, but also the distance from the start matters, because the further away it is, the higher the bonus requirement stats are. So you can see, again, how much fun you can have making builds, trying board slots, maybe put this one over here, maybe we go left when we get this because we want to sneak in here and we want to get maybe like this node and that node, but now we're out of points. You can get 200 Paragon points for leveling 50 to 100, and there's 20 more Paragon points in the Renown system. This is why it's important to fully max out your Renown and get those points there. So that's how that works there. But there's more. The next part that you really need to know about for glyphs, I mean, it's actually pretty easy to get all of these glyphs. Just run Nightmare Dungeons endgame. You'll get all like one of these each very quickly. They're pretty easy to get. The hard part that takes a little more effort is leveling the glyphs up. So you can get these glyphs, and then by doing the endgame content, you can actually level them. They go all the way up to level 20 at max, and then you can probably get all the glyphs you need to like level 14 or 15 in one evening. If you're just hard focusing on repeatedly doing endgame content over and over and over, you can get them to 14 or 15 pretty easily, and it takes a little more effort to get to 20. But you asked me, Drybear, why is it important to level my glyphs up? Well, you see how this one here has, for every 5 strength purchased within range, you deal increased damage. Okay, so let's take our turf glyph, and let's go ahead and level it up to level 20 and place it back in. Do you already see the difference? If I took the level 20 and the level 1, the higher level has a wider range, which means that if it's every 5 strength in range, you have more nodes that exist inside the range that you can apply this bonus to and get more value for. And some of these nodes, some of these glyphs have an increase to all, yep, see, 240% bonus to all magic nodes within range. So all blue nodes in range are scaled by that amount. When you increase the range of the glyph, You include more, you get more benefit from that. So one of your most important activities for endgame is getting all your glyphs and leveling them up so you can get even more bonus. And towards super optimized like Nightmare 100 and Pinnacle Boss, you're going to want to focus on maximizing these glyphs. So the next thing that you might realize already, or may have already noticed, is that the placement of the glyph matters a lot, right? So let's take this, for example. Let's run through a very basic example so we can see just how important the glyphs are. So we'll take the turf glyph because we've been talking about it already. For every 5 strength purchased within range, we get a benefit. So let's count. If we use the turf glyph at level 20 on the starting board, what do we get from that? We have 1 node of strength, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's it. There's 7 strength nodes. 2 of them are 7, which means we won't get another bonus of 5. It'll be +4, which means we won't get that extra trigger. So we have 7 nodes here. Okay, so this is a contender for the turf node or the turf glyph that needs strength. Let's try the next board. So if we took turf and we put it here at level 20, what would we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is another 7 node. That's 7 nodes of strength within range. And remember, if this is one of the glyphs that gives bonus to magic nodes, the nodes that are magic that are nearby are all going to be different for every board. So we can try over here. What about if we put the turf glyph in this spot at level 20? Would that matter? Would that benefit us? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this spot on this board has 9 strength nodes. On this board it has 7, and on the starting board it has 7. Which means we can get at minimum 2 extra stacks of this bonus effect because there's more strength in range of the glyph. So again, that's where the creativity for the build comes in, and choosing not only the placement of the glyphs, the pathway you make through your board, the rotation of the boards, and how far the boards are away from the start to trigger the bonuses that you're looking for, and there's tons of them in here. You also want to think about what glyphs you choose and where you place them. So at first glance, you may see this Paragon system as, okay, it's just extra points and stats, whatever. There's a lot of freedom of expression with these that might change your build drastically. And when you make a new build that might be kind of set different, requires different stats, you might need a full new Paragon setup. And I'll leave you with my last piece of advice. It is actually pretty cheap to respec your talents, your skills all the way up until level 50. And then moving beyond 50, you can respec your Paragon as much as you want. It just has a cost associated. So what I would recommend if you're exploring the game and getting your build and your gear is like when you first start Nightmare, like World Tier 3, and you're pushing towards 70, 75, I would just try to get like a very basic Paragon board that works for everything. It's not highly contextual. It's not like damage with damage over time or damage on bleeding targets, and you have to have a bleeding build. Just get a build that's universally useful and explore your skills and your talents and all of that. Get your gear right and then come back and start messing with it, because you might go broke trying to respec your Paragon over and over or find a Paragon build there. But of course, don't let me tell you how to play. If you really want to just keep trying new builds and messing around, just make sure you're farming the gold. I have other videos going over gold gain, but that is definitely there. So that's an option for you if you want to do that. But I wanted to make sure that before you started your launch journey into Diablo 4, you have a good understanding of what the Paragon board is, how it functions, and the cool knobs that you have to play with that are super fun. And that's all I've got for you today. Come hang out with me on my live stream. I'm live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. If you have any questions or comments or you want to theory craft, I'd be happy to chat with you. So see you there. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content, link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.